Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Fit Fun Fact.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Thanks for tuning in once again, guys. We're going to get started right off with part 2 of your dorm workout, so I hope you enjoy it.
This is not a drill.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to part 2 of dorm fitness. Alright, after jump squats, what we're going to do is some very simple standing calf raises. It's going to hit a nice part of your leg and try to work the whole body out, like I said. So here's the proper form for that. Alright, time for the final leg exercise today, which will be calf raises. A lot of times people tend to neglect their calves a little bit. It's very good for stability and spring in your hop, if you want to jump higher or anything like that. If not, it's just good to keep your legs strong and yourself toned. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use simple door, and we're just going to do standing calf raises. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your hands on the door for balance. You're going to plant your feet about shoulder apart. You're going to pick the foot you want to start with, and you're going to put your other leg over it. And you're just going to stand up on like the ball of your foot so that your calf is tightened up. And then you're going to hold it for a second, and you're going to go back down. So you're going to go up and down. When you do your calf raises, same thing, you want to go really high volume for this. So try to get around, let's say 30 reps for this will be good. And let's do like about 4 sets. You should feel a nice burn because we're going to do, like in the video, 1 leg at a time. Alright, next, we'll talk a little bit about core. Just standard crunches are probably the best way to go for this. We're going to do 2 exercises, which are standard crunch, and then leg raises are the best for an on-the-fly workout. So we're going to quick show you the form for both of those. So next is standard crunch and leg raises. Alright, next we're going to do some sit-ups. So pretty straightforward, almost everybody knows how to do these. Things you want to avoid is holding your neck, because if you pull up, you're obviously going to strain your neck a little bit. Another thing you want to avoid is swinging your arms really hard, because that takes out some of the work. You can do that as a beginner, like when you're learning to do it, so that you can get up all the way and learn to get that full range of motion. But you want to try to do it as best you can without swinging your body. Alright, so proper form, what I usually do is I either cross my chest or just put my hands by my head. For this, I'm just going to cross my hands over my chest. You're just going to sit up. Pretty easy. You can do a lot of reps with those. You can get a nice tight core going. So next, leg raises. What you're going to do to start off easy is you're going to put your hands underneath you, and you're going to just sit your butt down on your hands. And this is going to help your back. As you get better, you can do with your hands at your sides or even above you. And it's going to put a little more tension on your core when you do it. But just like that, what you're going to do is you put your hands under, keep your legs straight, and you just raise up till your legs are over your body and back down. And you want to stop when your legs are just like an inch above the ground and hold it for a minute, and then back up and back down. Alright, so next, after that, what we're going to do is we're going to hit more of our triceps. We're going to be doing dips on a table. Alright, so next what we're going to do is some just basic tricep dips. We're going to use a little coffee table here for that. Any furniture that's like this, got a flat surface, will work great for these. So what you're going to do is you're just going to put your hands at the edge, and you're going to put your legs out in front of you like this, and you're just going to bend at the elbows and go down until your butt basically hits the ground and back up like this. Try to keep your elbows back so that it's about a 90-degree angle, and try not to cock them out way too far, because that can put some strain on your shoulder. So again, just keep it simple like this, and that'll probably be your best bet for triceps at home. Thanks for tuning in. This was the fitness portion of Dorm Storm. We hope to see you next week. And remember, kids, don't skip leg day. Alright guys, that was Fit.
Now it's time for fun. Repeat, this is not a drill.
Alright, so our topic for discussion this week is video game movies, where you take the video game and you adapt it into a movie franchise. So let's take a moment here and let's all think of a time when we saw a video game movie that we just loved. Yeah, no, there hasn't been one. So why don't you think, what's like the recipe in making a movie into a game? I mean, a lot of them have amazing stories, a lot of them have
great characters and great settings. Why does that not translate into movies?
Well, what I think mainly happens is a lot of times, like a game, you define your character or your group so much, and so much of your own like personality goes into it in the way you play, and the universe is so large. There's so much to see, so much to experience. You're really in depth with it, and you like the greatest part of the game is you're doing it. You're playing it. You're involved with every like turn. You make the decisions. You have a real hand in it. And so that's where a lot of the fun comes from. And when you try to put that much information into a movie, you end up having to cut stuff out so you don't get the complete story, and then you don't get that like great feeling of choosing what you're doing. You don't get to experience it the same way. So like a great plot gets like cut down to size, and then it takes out some of the best elements of it, which are, just being the character. Like, if you see it as like its own movie, it's not gonna be as bad as if you're going into it thinking like, yes, this needs to do justice to like a video game franchise that I've played and I love, because it's always gonna fall short. I feel like almost every single time, unless they put a lot of work into it, like you just can't put that experience on a film. Because like another thing is like each of the characters, we have our own like way we read the text, we have our own like personality, what we play through the game, and then try to make an actor be that character puts like a lot of pressure on the actor, and like it just makes it so difficult to make a lovable character again. So where do we see video game movies going in the future? I know there's an Assassin's Creed movie coming out, and I know a big one that a lot of people are stoked for is World of Warcraft, which that I hope to see some good stuff. But I'm a little nervous because, like I said before, when you try to take a huge immersive world with so many storylines and so many individual like people making their own character, how do you bring that to the screen? Like, what do you think?
That's a good point. The developers of Warcraft, Blizzard Entertainment, is actually one of my favorite developers ever. And what they're going to do with this movie, from what I've read at least, is go back even before Warcraft 1. So, as many of you may not know, World of Warcraft is sprung from an RTS, a real-time strategy game, Warcraft 1, 2, and 3. And kind of tell the story of when the orcs eventually came into Kalimdor and to Azeroth, and eventually met the humans. Now, I'm a little more confident with this Warcraft movie than other movies, mainly because who's behind it. It's run and developed and produced by Blizzard Entertainment.
Yeah.
And I might be very biased here because I'm a huge Blizzard fanboy because I grew up with their games. I played StarCraft and Warcraft and Diablo when I was a child on PC. But they have a really good reputation on putting out very high quality products. I can't see them putting out a dud like this. But again, this is movies and cinema in video games. It has a horrible reputation, so I can't say I'm 100% confident that this movie will be what I hope it'll be, but I do have more confidence.
Alright, well, we hope you guys enjoyed this segment. We want to hear anything you guys have to say, like in the comments, anything you think about the movies, what your thoughts and hopes are for it.
And yeah, thanks again for tuning in to Fun. Tune in next week and we'll have
Lots of fun together.
Alright, welcome back, YouTubers. I think next we are going to go on to fact, and I think today's fact, yeah, that was honestly not scripted.
Is that all you got?
Let's begin now.
Hey guys, welcome to the fact portion, and today one thing we're going to discuss is a very relevant topic that's going on in the news and in the science world, and that's climate change. So climate change, especially in the recent years, has gotten a lot more attention. There's been a lot of misconception about it, and especially with this next election coming up in later this year, they've been talking a lot more about it. So just to clear a few things up for you, I'm hoping to kind of shed some light on it, show you some facts about it, show you some misconceptions about it as well. Some of my background in this area of study, here at Luther, we don't just make videos for YouTube. We actually do go to class. I'm a bio major with a minor in environmental studies, so I've taken a lot of geology classes and science classes. And back home, I actually work at a cave, and through the cave, I learned a lot of geology there too. So I think I'm relatively qualified to be giving you these facts. So we can start right away. I thought to stick with kind of our FitFunFact theme, we're going to have a little friend help us here, Deadpool. So to get right at the root of climate change, you have to know what the main product is causing it, and that's CO2. So CO2 is something that you, me, and Deadpool here breathes out through respiration. Now, you might think, how can this cause climate change, Matt? I mean, people have been around for millions of years. How can this still, right now, cause this giant change? Well, the respiration part isn't really causing the change. Obviously, some of the CO2 will go into the atmosphere, but most of it will be taken up by plants. And through plants and photosynthesis, they will pump out O2, take off the C and the carbon. And through O2, we then breathe. And through respiration, the Krebs cycle and the electron transport chain, we will put on a C and pump out the CO2. You can see it's a cycle. What has caused climate change, though, is something to do with the Industrial Revolution. So you can imagine when life first started out, we'll put it right down here in this corner. Plants and animals, obviously, they are made up of a lot of carbon and a lot of CO2, just like we are now. And like any living thing, they eventually die. Now, over years and years and years of all this death and deposition on the land, eventually these plants and animals will get buried. Over time, with pressure and heat, this will turn and compact into rock. So you can imagine all the limestone around your areas or any depositional or sedimentary stone, a lot of it was actually once plants or animals, and over time their organic material broke down and hardened up to form the rock that's in it. It's kind of a fun fact as well. But you can imagine over years and years, hundreds of thousands, millions of years of this building up, it is going to be, or it's going to have so much pressure down where these plants and animals used to be that their organic material will actually start to liquefy or pump into a gas. So this is where you get natural gas and oil. So this, to the modern man, is very valuable. Obviously, we use it for many things today. So the people up here will want to pump out the natural gas and the oil back to the surface. This is then used and burnt for factories, or obviously something that you probably know it for more, for cars. Now, when it burns, you're not really destroying anything, you're actually just breaking up the bonds and breaking up the chemicals that are forming the oil and the natural gas. One of them, a very prominent one, being CO2. And that then goes up in the atmosphere. And that is the main point of climate change, is what's happening when you burn these fossil fuels. So, you have to remember then what makes up the atmosphere. There's a lot of components in the atmosphere. The main one, though, is oxygen, O2, N2, nitrogen, and CO2. So then you can think, well, why exactly does CO2 hurt the atmosphere more than, like, say, if there's more oxygen or more nitrogen? Well, then you'd have to look at the actual makeup of each, the chemical compounds. So O2, two O's, is created by a double bond, same with N2. But CO2 has an O and two single bonds with the C and the O there. So, and how the atmosphere works and why it's so important to us is obviously many planets and moons that don't have atmospheres, they either get the direct hit by the sun and will be insanely hot on the surface, and then the dark side of it, like the dark side of the moon, is completely cold. So what the atmosphere does is it heats up these chemicals. Instead of hitting the Earth directly, it'll heat this up and transfer it all throughout the planet. So, because this has two single bonds, two bonds for it to heat up, the more CO2 you have in the atmosphere, the hotter the atmosphere will get, and then ergo, the hotter the planet will get. So this is the main force behind climate change, and the reason why burning so much fossil fuel will have more CO2 enter in the atmosphere and then heat up our planet. So it's a very, very important thing to really investigate further in. It is a huge topic in the election, like I said, this year again. So if you do have any more questions about climate change, I think I can answer most of them. Just leave a comment below, let me know, and hopefully in another video I can get to it. So thank you very much, and thanks to Deadpool here for helping us out to hopefully broaden and brighten your understanding of climate change a little more. Outfit change. Holy guacamole, Batman. I think that's the end of our show.
Oh, for sure.